Hello, my sweet friends, and welcome to Kinda Shabby. My name is Becky, and I am so glad you stopped by. In today's video, we're going to be making several quick and easy last-minute crafts using items you probably already have around your home. And I'm also going to be sharing a tutorial for these gorgeous book page poinsettias as well. Well, we have lots of fun in store today, so let's get these projects started. For our first project, we're going to be taking some toilet paper rolls and also some fun embellishments, and we're going to turn these into cute little sleeves for you to put your gift cards in. So my toilet rolls are not the same size, so you will need to take your little card and decide how you want that to fit in there. And I want mine to stick up just a little bit at the top, so I'm just going to cut it right underneath. So then when my gift card is inserted, it will stick out a little bit at the top. And you can use a stapler to staple the end together, but I'm going to go ahead and run some hot glue to seal those edges together. And then you'll just cut your remaining tubes for however many gift cards you plan to give. But to save time, I'm going to do two and use these pretty little scrapbooking papers that I picked up from Hobby Lobby. I'm going to use my Elmer's glue when I put these onto the tubes because the Elmer's has a little bit less of a chance of wrinkling as opposed to the Mod Podge. So I'm just going to nestle it in there just like that to make sure I've got enough of the paper to cover my little tube. Then that way I can wrap it and put the seam at the back. Then I'm just going to squeeze my Elmer's here, smooth it out with a brush, place that down, and then we can come and get our other sides down as well. And that's what we have so far. And I'm going to use that same process to put my pink paper on this tube as well. And then while my glue dries, I'm going to take some cardstock and my 1.5 inch round punch here, and I'm going to punch out 2 circles. And then I'm going to take my archival ink in the color coffee, and I'm going to distress the edges of my circles, and also in the middle as well. That way it just kind of gives it a nice little vintagey look. Then I'm going to use my Iron Orchid Designs stamps, and this set is called Letterpress, and it has several different sized alphabets in there as well as different fonts, and I really like this set. And I'm going to place my letters at each end here, and I'll be stamping the initial of the recipient into the middle of each of these little discs here. So that's one. And that is going to go on this one. And this color was Rose Madder. And now I'm going to use Red Geranium for the other. And it's kind of hard to see on camera. This is actually a nice little pink, and this is a gorgeous red. And those are going to be really, really cute when I get those onto my little envelopes. And now I'm going to take a coffee filter and I'm going to cut this outside edge here. And now that I have the strip where it is the fluted edge, I'm going to cut that in half. So we'll actually have 2 pieces of the ruffled edge. And then you want to take one of your pieces and you just want to begin to finger press that into some cute little ruffles. And you're going to do that all the way down your strip. And then we're just going to start gluing the edge to make like a little ruffle along the outside of our letter. So I'm just going to place it along the edge there and just put some hot glue. Adjust my ruffles a little bit, add more glue. And I'm going to continue all the way around the outside of both of my letters here. And those are really cute, and you can see that it got out of whack a little bit here. That's a little longer. So I'm just going to take my scissors and just make those all even all around the edges. And now that all the edges are even, that looks much better. And now we're going to take our letters and we're going to glue them to the inside just like that on our little pockets. And now I'm going to glue some bling and a little bit of greenery to this one. And then I'm going to add this lace and also one of these flowers up here to this one. And that is what we have so far, and we are almost finished. Now we're just going to take a regular hole punch and we're going to punch a hole on either side here, and that's where we're going to put our hanger. Then I'm going to use some lace and put that in there on either side. And those are just the cutest little toilet paper rolls I've ever seen. And now I'm going to take some tissue paper and some tulle to put inside the pocket before I tuck in my gift card. And you really only need just a little square. And then you'll do the same thing with your tulle, and you can use whatever color you have on hand, but I just think the gold is really festive. And then we have a cute little pocket when we tuck in our little gift card. And I think that is just a quick and easy way for you to make a cute little sleeve to put your gift cards in. Well, let's move on to our next project. For our next project, we are going to be making our beautiful book page poinsettias. I did mine with 3 different sized petals, but you can make your petals whatever size you like. My largest petal is 4 inches from the tip to the base, and it is 2.5 inches across. My middle-sized petal, 3 inches from tip to base, and it is 1 3/4 inches wide. And my smallest petal is 2 inches high, and it is 1 inch wide. And the first thing that you need to do is take your petals and trace them onto your book pages. You will need 5 of each sizes of your petals. I was actually able to get all 3 on one page, so I'm only going to need 5 pages to make this beautiful flower. And now that we have all of our pieces cut out of our book pages, we're going to need some florist wire. I'm going to be cutting 15 pieces that are 8 inches long. And now that we have all of our wires cut, you want to flatten out that end just as best as you can, because then you're going to take it and place it about a 1/2 inch from the tip of your petal, and you're going to hot glue that down the middle of your petal. And I use the side of my ruler here just to press it down into the glue. And you're going to glue down all of your wires to your petals in the same fashion. For our next step, we're going to break out the Mod Podge and some glitter to apply to our petals. And I'm going to be using this beautiful iridescent so you can actually still see the words through that glitter. Kind of hard to see that it actually has the glitter on here, but it is so beautiful. So I'm going to apply a very thin coat of the Mod Podge, quickly sprinkle on my glitter, and I'm going to tap off the excess over here. And that already changes the color of the paper. I just think that is so pretty. So I'm going to go ahead and apply the Mod Podge and the glitter to each of my petals, and then we'll come back with the next step. You want to make sure that your Mod Podge has all thoroughly dried before you move on to this next step. I'm going to be using my archival ink in the color Coffee, but you could also use some antiquing wax, or you could use brown paint as well to get a similar look. And I'm just going to take my ink pad and go around the edges of each of my petals and a little bit in the middle as well, just to kind of give that a nice aged appearance. This one doesn't have any of the ink, and this one does, and it just gives it such a nice little vintagey vibe. So I'm going to go ahead and ink up all of the edges of my petals, and then we'll put our flower together. For the bling in the middle of mine, I am using these beautiful little glitzy pieces that I picked up in the wedding section at Hobby Lobby. But if you don't have something already on a floral wire, you most certainly could take any kind of bling and just glue it to the center of your flower. after you have assembled it. Also going to be using some of this florist tape, but you can use masking tape, you can use blue painter's tape, whatever you have to hold those wires together. And we're going to start with our 5 smallest petals, and we kind of want to overlap those edges, place our bling in the middle, and just begin working the petals into what is going to be the shape of the center of your flower. Then you'll take your floral tape and you're going to come to the back and you're going to start wrapping those together. Pinch it tight, tear off the excess. Then we're going to take our middle-sized petals, and these we're going to place between each of our smaller petals. And so now that we have our middle-sized petals on there, we're going to do the same thing and take our floral tape and just wrap those wires tightly. Tear off the excess. And then we come in, adding our largest petals and again placing them between the middle petals. And again, we're going to wrap that tightly with our floral tape and squeeze that together. And now that you have it all assembled, you can bend your petals however you want them, rearrange your little petals. That is just so pretty. And now you can use this and wrap this with either some lace or some pretty fabric if you want to tuck it and make a couple of these for a floral arrangement. You could also wire those onto a wreath. That would be beautiful. Also, if you want to use this on a pillow like I did with mine, I just bend these over and snip all of that wire off, and then I just glue on a piece of felt and a ribbon here, and I keep my ribbon open in the middle, so then I can just slip in a safety pin and pin that onto whatever I want. I just love these little flowers. They're just so beautiful. Well, now let's move on to our next paper project. For this project, you're going to need 5 book pages, and again, I'm using just a smaller paperback book. You're also going to need a wine cork. I want my bottom edge to have a little bit of a tattered look, so I'm going to line my ruler up against the last line of script here on the page, and I'm just going to tear it because I want it to have that nice tattered edge, and I'm going to do that to all 5 of my pages. Then you're going to stack your papers and get them all nice and neatly lined up, and come down 3/4 of an inch from the edge of your paper here. You're going to make a little dot, and then you're going to make a line. You're just going to make snips in your paper from the bottom edge up to your drawn line. And I'm making about a 1/4 inch snips in that, and you're just going to cut your strips all the way down to the end of your page. I don't want my drawn line to show, so I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to put some glue here, and then I'll pull each of my pages back and put just a little bit of glue on that to keep it in place. And now, making sure that our pages are still aligned, we're going to wrap this and glue it occasionally as we go around our wine cork. And you won't need to glue all of your pages down because we're going to come back and make sure that they stay in place. And you're just going to keep wrapping and gluing until you reach the end of your page. And once you reach the end, you are going to glue down each one of your sheets to make sure they don't come up. And now we're going to start covering up all of this right here. But before we do, we want to put a hanger on this because it can hang as an ornament and look really cute also on gift packages as well. I want to use this pink ribbon, and I'm going to glue it to either side of the cork so it will hang like this. And I love this nice, gorgeous, thick ribbon here. I'm just going to start right here and just glue this around the top of my cork to cover all of that up. I'm going to come up in the bottom here, and we're just going to fluff up our little book page tassel. Gently take the pages and run it between your finger and your thumb just to kind of fan out the edges. And I just love these little book page tassels. They just turn out so, so cute. All right, well, we've got some more book page projects to do, so let's go ahead and move on. For our next project, you'll need 2 book pages, and this time we are going to tear the edge of both sides of our paper on each one of our sheets, just like we did on our little tassel here. And now that each edge of our pages are shabby, we're going to go ahead and do an accordion fold. So we'll fold up about 1/4 inch and fold back. And so we're going to fold that back and forth all the way down each one of our pages. And that's what it looks like when we do the accordion fold. So we have our 2 pieces of accordion pages here, and we're going to place these together. We're not going to start gluing anything just yet. You're going to come 3/4 of the way up, and we're going to crease each one of those. Then I'm going to take an 8-inch piece of my brown floral wire, and you can use jute, you can use lace, whatever you like. So I'm going to place that to one side, glue that in place there, glue all the way down this strip, and come back and place this one over the top. And now we're going to glue these edges here down to the sides. And when you're making yours, you'll see where it needs to have a little more glue. And now I'm going to take a wooden bead that has a hole in it, put that down over the top, and we have just the cutest little teeny tiny angel. I am going to add some glue here so my bead doesn't wander around. And these are just so cute and so quick and easy to do, and it just makes such a cute little embellishment for your wrapped gifts or your gift bags. And we're also going to use 2 book pages to jazz up these little ornaments here. I picked these up at Big Lots, but I have seen them at Dollar Tree and Walmart and other places as well. So once again, we're going to take our 2 sheets and we're going to tear off the edges on both sheets to make them nice and tattered. And with our ratty edges, we're going to again do an accordion fold on both of our pages. And where it doesn't make a full fold, you just want to cut off that excess. And then take and make sure these pages are very, very crisply folded. And now with these, you are going to fold them in half and crease. And then this is going to get glued in the middle here. And just give it a good squeeze. And then we're going to come over here, fold it in half, and then glue it here. And then we're going to glue these together just like that. Right in here, it may try to come apart, so just anywhere that you see it needs a little bit of glue, just go ahead and add a little dot here and there. And now we're going to take our plain ornament here, and we're going to glue our medallion to the middle just like that. So I'm just going to load up my glue and then line that up. I have another little embellishment here that I'm going to glue to the middle of that. And I like my little button, so I'm just going to glue my button to the middle of that. And it came with this thin gold thread. I don't care for that. And then I'm going to add some pink ribbon to that. And that way we quickly shabby chic up just a very ordinary looking ornament. And this is great as a gift, or again, it looks great when you use it as a topper for gift wrap presents as well. For our next project, we're going to need a couple of cones, and we're going to need them in a smaller 2x2, and then this one is a 2.5x2. And so I've already torn my 2x2 squares. Now I'm going to tear my 2.5x2 squares. I place my ruler down, make a tear at 2.5 inches, and then again at 5 inches. Place down my ruler and tear off the excess, and then tear that there as well. And then, since my book pages are 4 inches wide, I just come and make a little tear at 2 inches. Place my ruler down and then tear those. So now I have 2.5x2 and 2x2 squares here. We're going to roll these into cone shapes, and it's easier if you kind of crease it from corner to corner and then roll it up into a cone shape. Then I take my finger and poke it in there just a little bit to open it up like that, and then just put a little dot of glue, and that's going to hold that in place. So now we're just going to go ahead and roll all of our little pieces here into our cone shapes. So now that I've rolled and glued all my little cones here, we're going to start assembling our ornament. I have a 2.5-inch circle, and I folded it in half both ways, and those creases helped to mark the middle. And now all we're going to do is begin gluing down our little cones here. Run a line of glue and tuck in my cone. Just gluing in a north, south, east, west configuration. Then you're going to take and come back in and fill in, placing 2 cones between each of these cones here. And now that we have this area filled in, still using your larger cones, you're going to come back in and you're going to place those down between the 2 like that, because there's just not enough room on the disc to glue all of that down. So you can see I've started gluing down to fill in the space between those. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same all the way around the rest of my ornament here. And that's what we have so far. And then, still using my larger cones, I'm just going to come in and glue those in wherever it looks a little bare. And I'm just going to glue those to the back of my paper disc here. And now that that is all nice and full, we're going to take our smaller cones and we're going to nestle those in just like that. And when you begin gluing these down, you are going to have to snip off this part here because it's going to get too bulky. So you just snip that off and then you glue that down into place. So now that we have all of our cones glued down, we are almost finished. And if you did this with full-sized book pages, you could make a gorgeous big book page wreath with that. That would just be so pretty. So I always like to finish off the back. I think earlier I said this was a 2.5-inch circle. If I did, it's actually a 2-inch circle. So I took my punch and I've cut out 2 of these, as we're going to use these to finish off the back, and we're also going to use these at the front here as well. Pull out some pink ribbon, and I'm just going to take my ribbon and glue that down to the back. And now we're going to take our other paper disc and we're going to glue that to the back to cover all of this up. And just center that up. And I'm going to press and hold until all that glue sets up. And now we're going to take our paper disc and we're going to do the same and glue that down to the center just like that. Then I'm going to take another one of my little snowflake embellishments and I'm going to glue that to the center like that. And I'm going to finish this off with another one of our little buttons as well. And there we go. How gorgeous is that? Now, before you glue down all of your cones, you could add some Mod Podge and dust those with some glitter. That would be absolutely gorgeous. But I wanted to save time in the video, so I didn't do that process. But you can see that adding glitter to the tips of the cones there would just be gorgeous. Well, now all I need to do is give you a closer look at how cute all of this week's projects turned out. Thank you so much for joining me today. It has been my pleasure to craft with you. This concludes my Christmas crafting for the year, but I have lots of fun projects in store for us for the new year. I want to wish you a very Merry Christmas and a peaceful, prosperous New Year. And until next time, my sweet friends, be blessed.